Hello everyone. Welcome to your weekly New York City fire/crime news video for the week of June 28th, 2021. So a lot we got to get into as usual. I'll get into the Times Square shooting. I promise I will talk about that because that is a urgent matter that needs to be discussed. But we also have to discuss that there was a fire that happened last night in Flushing, which the media is neglecting to report on this. So it looks like I'm going to have to do their job. So, if you are not aware of what happened last night, maybe you weren't keeping an eye on the Firewire or the Citizen app, but we received word last night, shortly after 10 p.m., that a fire broke out at Flushing General Hospital in Flushing on Parsons Boulevard. The original 1075 call was sent out at 10:09 p.m. Now, according to the Firewire, I'm just confirming if my engine ladder went over there. So I'm not seeing engine 299. So that is what I'm taking a look. But I want to see if my ladder went over there. Okay, so ladder 152 didn't go over. Well, there's TL152, but there's a L152, so that's not them. Okay, so I'm just taking a look at anything else that we have here. Yes, okay, we have a video of the smoke from last night, and there was smoke in the area, and there was FDNY activity. But we are just trying to confirm. Yes, okay, so there are some videos you're looking at on Twitter right here. But I'm trying to see if I could find the Firewire. Because I did have something from them, but let's see. 14 hours ago. That's where they tweeted it out. Yes, okay. So this is what they sent out. So as you can see here, this is Flushing Hospital. I know this area very well. 46th Avenue is where the Q27 bus actually goes. So very familiar. Later on, the FDNY confirmed that this fire had spread to a medical building. Currently, right now, the FDNY is looking into a possibility that this could have been a possibility this was set on purpose. So anything's possible, but FDNY did disperse around 11:30 last night. I can also confirm that additional units from the 107 precinct actually showed up to this incident, because all hands means any nearby precinct. You could be 107, 111, 103, 109 precinct. Any of those precincts, they can get called in to give extra backup for crowd control. So there's definitely a possibility. I did hear from my sources that there were officers on the 107 who did respond to this last night. So I do have some pictures I actually want to show you, and I will get it up right now on my email. So let me just move this a little bit so you all can see this clearly. That's better. Now you all can see it. So as you can tell right there, let's minimize this. Can we minimize this? That's much better. Okay. So as you can see right there, there's the fire in the hospital. Very scary situation. We don't have any word on any fatalities or deaths at the moment, but it's a very scary situation. I mean, thank goodness the FDNY was able to place this under control. And I know this is going to be the thumbnail for today. Just a very, very scary fire, of course, that had to be discussed to lead off our coverage today. So we're also going to get into a fire that actually happened in Jamaica. There are actually two different fires that happened. The Queen's Courier actually covered. Okay, so here we go. It happened last week. A fire broke out on Wednesday, June 23rd at a residential house in Jamaica, leaving one person and one firefighter dealing with minor injuries. The fire broke out on the first and second floor of 146-27 South Road at the corner codenamed Tuskegee Airman Way just after 4 p.m. The blaze went to a second alarm after flames spread next door to 146-29 South Road, bringing 25 units and 106 firefighters. Bridget Simmons said, "There was a lot of smoke in the street when the firefighters arrived. It was tough to see the building." So, yeah, a little bit of water got on the lens. Good news is the fire was placed under control around 5:30. So this fire broke out, only an hour and a half, so they got it under control pretty quickly. Alright, and then a separate fire broke out just west of the Van Wyck Expressway in the south part of Jamaica the same evening. A 4-story multiple dwelling at 120-08 97th Avenue was called in just before 7:30 p.m. 12 units responded to with about 60 members of the FDNY. The blaze was then locked down around 10 p.m. 3 civilians were transported to local area hospitals, and another 3 were treated at the scene, according to the FDNY. So, I know there was another fire in Staten Island I wanted to look up. Let's see if I can pull it up. Yes, okay. Let's see. Yes, Sunnyside. Let's hope SSI Live doesn't doesn't charge me here. You gotta be kidding me. Alright, let's see if I can read Channel 7. That'd be much easier to play. Let's see if I can disable the audio. Yep, that's the problem. They automatically play the video. Alright, here we go. 9 firefighters were injured in a house fire on Staten Island. The fire broke out at 1072 Victory Boulevard, just a few blocks away from the Silver Lake Golf Course and Cemetery, just before 7 p.m. on Saturday, June 26th. The fire quickly spread to 2 alarms. 3 of the firefighters have serious injuries. 1 civilian also suffered serious injuries. There are no word on what started this fire, so let's see if we can play the video from WABC TV. And I'll try to keep my desktop audio off so you can avoid the echo.
Injured as they put out a house fire on Staten Island. Citizen app video shows the scene there. It's just a few blocks from the Silver Lake Golf Course and Cemetery. The fire began shortly before 7 p.m. and quickly went to 2 alarms. 3 of the firefighters have serious injuries. 1 civilian also suffered serious injuries. No word tonight on how that fire started.
Okay, so let's see if there are any other FDNY stories on Channel 7. Because I will say, Channel 7 does update their FDNY content on a regular basis. Let's see. Hang on here. Might be another one. Let's see this one. Oh, there's another one in the Bronx. There you go. 4 alarm fire rips through Bronx stories. Okay.
We are following some breaking news at this hour. This breaking news in the Bronx, where firefighters spent this very hot afternoon battling a fast-moving fire. The fire burned through several stores on Burnside Avenue and Morris Heights. In fact, that blaze went to 4 alarms. Perhaps not surprising in this heat, 11 firefighters are being treated at the scene by emergency crews.
All right, let's see if the article has any updates. Okay, so anybody injured? Alright, so 25 units and 106 members were dispatched to the scene at 3120 West Burnside Avenue in the Bronx. So good news is no injuries. That is very good news. So you know what? Let's check FDNY
Police are
alerts.
investigating the death of a retired
sorry
police officer.
about that. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Alright, so there was a dwelling fire in Brooklyn in 1839 East 83rd Street this morning. Let's see what else. Fire in the Bronx. Right, so normally these guys are on alert. Same with the Firewire. In fact, let's see if the Firewire has anything else. Let's see. NYC Firewire. Here we go. Yeah, they're mostly on the case. Okay, let's see. Right. They had the same thing too. Alright, we're going to move on now. And I hate to use New York 1. But New York 1 did a pretty good job covering the shooting in Times Square. I mean, they did a great job in May. 3 people were shot. But let's see if we can get the we can get you a video. Oh, you got to be kidding me. All right, let's see if it'll finally play.
Shootings and public safety became a central issue in the primary election.
I'll zoom out.
They are a problem everywhere in the city, but a shooting in Times Square yesterday captured a lot of attention.
So I'm just going to wait for it to load a little bit. I don't know what's up with New York 1. It's like their player seems to load so bad.
Because it highlighted how crime could stand in the way of the city's comeback from the pandemic. Broadway just starting to bring audiences in again, with Bruce Springsteen opening his show on Saturday. And a day later, police find themselves searching for a suspect after a shooting yesterday afternoon. A tourist from upstate was struck in the back by a bullet. Here comes Lindsay Tuckman's in Times Square with the latest on this investigation. Good morning, Lindsay.
I don't know what it is with Lindsay Buckman, just to randomly bring it up, but remember she was at the scene where the West Side Highway incident was a couple months ago? Same reporter.
Good morning, Pat. According to the NYPD, in the month of May alone, there were 173 shootings citywide. As for the number in June, they are...
Thank you, Bill de Blasio.
The latest shooting incidents happened right here in Times Square. Yesterday, one happened right by this Marriott marquee behind me here, which is just steps away from that big pedestrian plaza in the middle of Times Square, which is actually still busy now, filled with people visiting from out of town. Now, police are looking for the person that they say shot a man in the back yesterday, and they did release some surveillance video to see if anyone could help identify that person in connection to the shooting. You can see in the video a man running away and holding a gun in multiple instances. And here is what we're told happened yesterday. It happened around 5:15 p.m., police say. They were called to West 45th Street and 7th Avenue, which is just around where I'm standing right now. They're called to reports of a shooting. And they say that an unidentified man fired off a gun, hit a 21-year-old man in the back. That person, authorities say, was not the intended victim, likely just a bystander who happened to be here in the middle of the day, that nearby a fight was happening between two groups of men, and that's when the gun went off. The victim was brought to a hospital and is recovering now. Witnesses break down what they saw and felt.
I heard the shot. I don't care. Just some people that run, everybody run everywhere, but I don't know what happened.
You just gotta be vigilant. You gotta focus up and be on point, you know? Especially if you're not from here, you just gotta be careful.
And I'll tell you this, what's disturbing is this happened the same day New York City was holding its Pride Festival. Very disturbing, right?
And indeed, this did happen just a few months, or less than 2 months actually, after May 8th. A 4-year-old girl and 2 women were shot. Also, police say the unintended targets of a shooting. A 31-year-old man was arrested in connection to that shooting. As for this latest incident, no arrests have yet been made. Pat?
Okay, Lindsay, thank you.
So there you go, another shooting. And you know what? Let's criticize de Blasio, shall we? We have every right to, since this tall person from Park Slope, Brooklyn, is leaving office in less than 6 months. He will be out de Blasio. He will be bye-bye. Benito. Gone in January. So watch what the tall mayor does this morning. Watch what this guy has the nerve to do this morning. Watch. Just watch.
Good morning, everybody. I like to talk about good things that happen in New York City all the time, and there were a lot of good things this weekend, but there was also something really, really bad. Another shooting in Times Square, which is absolutely unacceptable, and we will not tolerate. Now we've seen patterns in Times Square that we are going to address very, very aggressively. That is...
Which part of it happens to be your fault?
The entire notion of precision policing. You're going to hear from Chief Rodney Harrison on the specific actions that the NYPD will take working with other city agencies immediately in Times Square. The victim of the shooting, innocent bystander, thank God from the last information we've gotten, he'll be okay, but it's just an unacceptable state of affairs.
Yeah, and it's also because we have a governor who lets these people out, no bail reform. Probably the suspect was let out because the bail reform law played a factor. Probably a misdemeanor or whatever charge you have beforehand. Sorry, you're not being kept in jail.
This is a place that is so precious and so important to our city.
If it's so precious, why didn't you send more cops in May?
It has to be safe. We're going to be adding additional officers and additional measures to make it safer, to make it better. And we're announcing today the Times Square safe.
What are 50 officers going to do? What are they going to do? We at least need 100 cops. Maybe even 250. And while we're at it, where's the National Guard? Bring them in too. I swear, it's like Times Square needs to be like Fort Knox. Tight perimeter from, I'd say, West 49th Street all the way down to about West 42nd. Around that area. From 7th Avenue and Broadway, that little rectangular shape, if you want to call it, that's where the police should be deployed. And while we're at it, why don't you put more cops on West 45th Street? Because again, I know West 45th Street very well. You take West 45th Street, you're in a lot of different parts of Manhattan. By Lexington Avenue, you have the comic book store. You go to Vanderbilt, you're at Grand Central. You're by 5th Avenue, you're by all the fancy shops. You're on 6th Avenue, you're right by Radio City. Need I go on? Seriously, again, this person does not care about Midtown Manhattan. Look at his face. Do you think this person cares anything about Midtown Manhattan? No. No, he doesn't. So now, we're going to take a look at Curtis Sliwa. Because Curtis Sliwa actually posted a video yesterday. It's actually on YouTube. Here we go. Watch this. So right after the shooting happened, guess who was in Times Square? That's right. The Republican mayoral candidate for mayor, Curtis Sliwa. Watch this.
The gateway to the world, Times Square. You hear the cops? They're all over the place after the fact. More shots fired, a dispute right down the street, a block away from the mini precinct on 45th and Broadway in the shadow of the Marriott Hotel. And no suspects caught. There are cameras everywhere, but the cops are not proactive. No more under Bill de Blasio. No, I'm here, right, running for mayor. I got out of the subway. I came because I heard there were shots fired. Where's the mayor? Where are the other officials? And I've been telling all the tourists, enjoy New York City. Hope you don't get shot while you're here and end up with lead poisoning.
So again, Curtis makes a very good point. De Blasio should have been there right when this was happening. And you know what's disturbing about the shooting? Remember when Dermot Shea was right there, right when the shooting happened, when that little girl was shot? Yeah. But when a 21-year-old tourist gets shot, where's Dermot Shea? Dermot Shea is nowhere to be found. And I even tried telling Rudy Giuliani, and I'll say it for the record, Dermot Shea has no spine. Honestly, this is the police commissioner of the NYPD. It's like, yes, Mr. Mayor, I love to bow down to you. I love to kiss your feet. No. That's not what happened when you had Giuliani and Bloomberg. Right? The police commissioners were allowed to do their jobs. It's like de Blasio hires all these weak people, and, Branton was from the Giuliani era. Right? I'll give him some credit. But, the last two police commissioners are and were terrible. Okay? I thought Dermot Shea was going to be perfect, because he did a good job in the detectives unit. Now it's like he's police commissioner. He can't do anything. Swear to God, with the way the city's going lately. Alright, let's move on to other stories, because I have it well organized today. So let's go to Laura Uhl's website. And we have robberies being reported here in Northeast Queens. So, first up, we have a lot of robberies being reported in the confines of the 105 precinct. So, here we go. First incident. On June 14th, a victim was robbed in Glen Oaks by 260th Street and 75th Avenue around 5 p.m. On June 15th, the victim was robbed in Floral Park on 86th Avenue and 256th Street around 6 p.m. On June 16th, a robbery happened on the Queens-Nassau line at 10 p.m. at New Hyde Park by 80th Avenue and 271st Street. Then on June 18th, around 8 p.m., a victim was robbed at 88th Road and 249th Street in Belrose. Thankfully, the good news is no major injuries to the victims. But there you go. Robberies getting reported. Major robberies. Okay, so let's see what we got here. 4 victims carjacked in Flushing. Police report 4 victims were carjacked in Flushing. It happened in downtown Flushing in the vicinity of Union Street and 39th Avenue, so not too far from where PS20 is. EMS is checking on the victims. Police reported all suspects took off in different directions with the stolen vehicles. It happened around 12:30 p.m. Chopper was hovering for search. One suspect was later on put in custody after investigation led to Norton Boulevard and 114th Street. So probably in Corona. A firearm was recovered. Okay. There you go. Oh, and there's plenty more robberies where that came from. Plenty more we're going to get into. See if I could find it. I had it right here. Yes, this is it. Police searching for suspect in Long Island City gas station robbery. Police in the 108th Precinct in Long Island City are searching for a man in connection with a robbery that happened on June 19th. The unidentified suspect entered the market of a gas station on the southern edge of Sunnyside Yards around 2:30 in the morning and approached the counter. He produced a $1 bill with a note written on it that he demanded cash and threatened violence for non-compliance. The 19-year-old clerk manning the register in the market at 31-05 Queens Boulevard near the intersection of Skillman Avenue complied, and the man fled with the demand note and a bag containing $250. There were no injuries according to the NYPD. The light-skinned man was wearing a dark t-shirt with dark jeans and dark sneakers. Anyone with information can call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS-8477. In Español, 888 57-747-82. You can also call the 108 Precinct with any information at 718-784-5411, or you can also go on to the NYPD Crime Stoppers website at www.nypdcrimestoppers.com or on Twitter at NYPDTips. All tips are kept confidential. There you go. Very bad robbery spree going on. Okay, so I just want to see if I can find... So we will get to the hate crimes. We will, I promise. Just want to see if I can find the... Yes, the incident in Whitestone. This is urgent. So, in case you didn't hear, a hit and run was reported in Whitestone. And believe it or not, it happened right by the Q76 bus stop. Alright, so here we go. A driver has been charged after fatally striking a woman who was pushing an infant stroller in the Whitestone section of Queens. A grandmother pushing her 19-month-old granddaughter in a stroller was struck and killed by an unlicensed truck driver in Whitestone on Thursday, June 24th. The incident happened at 10 a.m. by the Cross Island Expressway Service Road at 15-06 150th Street. Now, I will mention weather did play into the factor of this incident, because remember, last Thursday, we actually had a couple days last week where the weather was very comfortable. Now we're getting into a heat wave, for the record. Alright, so according to the NYPD, 58-year-old Insuk Roll of 17th Avenue was crossing northbound the service road while pushing her 19-month-old granddaughter in a stroller when Angelo Grassi, the 43-year-old driver of a white GMC pickup truck, was attempting to turn onto the service road and struck Roll. Paramedics found Roll unresponsive with trauma to her head and body and rushed to Booth Memorial Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead at 11:07 a.m. The toddler was taken to Cohen's Children's Medical Center in New Hyde Park with minor injuries. Grassi of 22nd Avenue is facing charges with multiple charges, including driving with a suspended license, failure to yield to a pedestrian, and failure to exercise due care, according to authorities. The investigation is ongoing. Alright, so there is an editor's note right here. It says, the story was updated at 9:35 a.m. yesterday. Police initially identified the adult victim as a woman in her 40s. They also said she was the toddler's mother. So, yes, officials later on confirmed the woman was 58 and she was the toddler's grandmother. Right, and then they said the child taken to Cohen's Children's Medical Center was 19 months old. Now, I will say, I'll give EMS dispatch credit in this case. Because I used to work at Booth Memorial Medical. And Booth Memorial Medical, I actually was an environmental services worker there. I will tell you firsthand, I actually had the privilege of cleaning the trauma room, the hallways of the area of the trauma room. It is a very good trauma room. They actually take care of their patients at Booth Memorial. So, this woman was in good hands. I'm just very, very awful that didn't turn out in a positive result. Not everything ends up good in the end, but let's just hope this child is going to be okay, because another positive, Cohen's Children's is a very good hospital in terms of pediatric care, especially the Pediatric Trauma Center. So, especially because, again, I personally worked at Long Island Jewish. I'm still trying to go back, but thank you, EMS. For once, they actually have accurate dispatching. Okay, so let's see what else we got to get into. So, we're going to move on to the shootings. First up, there was a deadly 19-year-old that was shot in the Irvine section of Queens yesterday. Police need the public's help in finding two suspects of interest connected to the murder of a 19-year-old man in Queens on June 25th. Cops said Angel Cabrera, who was visiting the area from Jersey City, was fatally shot in the tour zone in the Irvine section at 1 p.m. According to law enforcement sources, Cabrera was seen entering a building on Beach 56 Place and then leaving moments later while holding his side. Cabrera collapsed to the pavement about 3 blocks away near 112 Beach 59th Street. Officers from the 101 precinct found him there moments later while responding to a 911 call about the shooting. EMS rushed Cabrillo to nearby St. John's Episcopal Hospital where he was pronounced dead. At this point in the ongoing investigation, police have not yet established a motive for his murder. On Friday night, the NYPD released security camera footage showing the two persons of interest sought for questioning in connection with the homicide. Okay, let's see if we can zoom out. That might help. Okay. Cops described one of the individuals as a black man wearing a black hooded sweatshirt, dark jeans, and black sneakers. The other person of interest was described as a black man wearing a white t-shirt, blue jeans, and black sneakers. The pair are on camera running down a stairway at the location where Cabrillo was shot. So there you go. And then we got this. Cops searched for Dodge Durango driver suspected for shooting two men in Jamaica. The NYPD is searching for a driver of a Dodge Durango in connection to the shooting of two men in Jamaica last week. Or 2 weeks ago. Police say during the evening of Monday, June 14th, an unidentified man driving the possible gray vehicle pulled over at the corner of 160th Street and 107th Avenue and fired several shots. The shot struck a 22-year-old man multiple times in his torso and a 59-year-old man once in the left hand. The driver fled in an unknown direction as the shooting victims were transported to Jamaica Hospital by private means. So they do have a picture of the Durango that they're looking for. Both victims were listed in stable condition and there were no other injuries at the scene. Alright, so now we're going to move on to our last three stories today, and we actually have two very disturbing hate crime incidents we need to get into. The first involving a Muslim person and another of Asian descent. So the first issue, let's discuss the Muslim person who was assaulted. The NYPD Hate Crimes Task Force is searching for a man in connection with anti-Muslim assaults in Richmond Hill in Jamaica on Sunday, June 20th. The first assault occurred at 1:15 p.m. The unidentified man followed a 31-year-old man and a 24-year-old woman in the vicinity of Liberty Avenue and Lefferts Boulevard while shouting anti-Muslim slurs. The suspect then proceeded to punch the man in the back, then grabbed the woman's hijab and punched her in the arm. Both the victims sustained pain and redness but refused medical attention at the scene. About an hour later, the same suspect followed a 64-year-old man and a 56-year-old woman in the vicinity of 105 Inwood Boulevard near Liberty Avenue. Police said the suspect punched the woman several times in the face and head before fleeing. The woman sustained pain, redness, small lacerations, I'm sure I'm reading this correctly, to the head and face as well, and a fractured nose. EMS responded and transported the woman to Jamaica Hospital where she was listed in stable condition. So there you go. Very disturbing. So we do have a video of the suspect wanted. So there you go. There he is. Okay, we have a description of the suspect. Okay, he was described by investigators as a man with a beard wearing a dark blue jacket, black pants, a dark blue do-rag, and red sneakers. Alright, so we actually have an arrest in this incident. Queens man cuffed for hateful attack at Chinatown subway station. Detectives charged a Queens man on a June 24th connection with a silent but violent assault of a man at Chinatown train station back in March. Javal James, 42 of 165th Street in Queens, was picked up in Brooklyn on an unrelated incident and was linked back to a March 2nd attack of a 56-year-old man near the entrance to the East Broadway station on the F line. Cops said James punched the man in the face at the entrance near the corner of East Broadway and Rutgers Street at 8:50 p.m. on March 2nd, 2021. Sources familiar with the investigation said the suspect did not say a word to the victim before making his move. Law enforcement sources said the brute punched the victim multiple times about the body, eventually causing the man to pass out. The attacker then fled in an unknown direction. So, not going to get into specifics, but I think we did talk about this in March. So let's check the Crime Stoppers. See if they have anything of note to talk about. Okay, here we go. Crime Stoppers. Alright, so I am going to retweet the video that New York One did show. Oh, I heard about this one. Yeah, this happened in Inwood. Channel 7 actually talked about this. Okay, so here we go. On Friday, June 11th, let's play the video. At around 1:27 in the morning, robbery happened at 565 West 207th Street in the confines of the 34th Precinct. 4 individuals were shot, a victim, and they removed his watch. Suspects fled in a white Mercedes-Benz driven by an unknown person. Okay, anything else? We have a shooting that happened in the Bronx. Friday, March 28th at 12:35 a.m., an unknown individual shot a 27-year-old man 3 times in the confines of the 46th Precinct. Yes, there you go. A lot of issues. I'm not going to get into each one, but you get the idea of how bad this is getting. So our last story for this week, we're going to talk about, once again, Karen Consolowitz. Now, why are we talking about Karen Consolowitz, you may be wondering? Well, another person who's leaving office, thank goodness, the woman who double-crossed her own neighborhood of Kew Gardens in the 29th District, we have confirmed that construction is underway on Queens Boulevard. So here we go. De Blasio announced last week on Friday that construction is underway on the parking garage and community space along the new jail that will raise adjacent to Borough Hall and Queens Criminal Courthouse. So, De Blasio claims closing Rikers Island will make our city stronger and more just. So that's wrong, because you know what's going to happen. There's going to be more crime, and Kew Gardens is being, let's just say, in a very bad predicament right now. And again, you know what's going on here. It's Karen Consolowitz. This is all part of the plan that she had. You look at this. A fair jail system. Really? Really? And as you know, led by City Councilwoman Karen Consolowitz, if the jail does go through and if Republicans do not stop this plan by 2023, the 886-bed jail will be a maximum height of 195 feet and will house female detainees in a separate facility within the jail. Right. So there you go. Well, that's going to wrap up our update for this week. So, a lot of very disturbing stuff as usual, and the summer of hell still continues. And I just know how bad things are going to get, because the 4th of July is coming up next week, and I don't know. I'm just very worrisome about what's going to happen. Very worrisome. But I am making an announcement right now because we are federally observing the July 4th holiday on July 5th. Next week's crime news video will be posted on Tuesday, July 6th. So with that, thank you all very much for watching. And until the next one, please take care.